Chapter 47. My editor returned my book to me, and the final revisions were coming along. I couldn't focus, I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. Every waking, conscious thought was of my Raven. Every night I lay awake staring at the ceiling and allowing my thoughts to take me back to Ireland. I seemed to spend my days there a lot. There we made love on the floor of my cottage before the fire. There only he and I existed. In this realm I was cold again. I had fallen back into nothingness, and nothingness is what I had become, for I left nothing but my love for Raven. When I was in Ireland, I could smile, I could breathe, I could fly, if only in my mind. But when Ireland melted away and we parted ways, I dipped back into nothingness again, where I lived and where I'd die. "How many slowlies do you have?" I texted Jacob. "Ugh, too many," he replied. "Such a stupid adverb," I wrote. "Slowly I sat, slowly I turned, slowly I trudged." Really? Is there any other way to trudge but slowly? You try it. Trudge quickly, then get back to me and report. Such a stupid adverb. "I'm not trudging quickly," he wrote. "Why not?" I wrote. "It's for research." "Elizabeth?" I turned to Hosea behind me. "Nell is here." I gasped, dropped my phone to my desk, and flew down the stairs. Penelope, who I hadn't seen in months. Penelope, who I loved. Penelope, my dearest friend. I ran into her arms and held her, giggling. "Oh, dear friend, I missed you so." "Have a seat," Hosea said. I looked at the table. My swords were out. 3 coffee mugs, spoons, and Hosea wasn't leaving the room. "This is an intervention, isn't it?" I deduced. Both looked surprised. "Ah, damn!" Nell said. "I had a script written up with blinds. I had a PowerPoint planned with a flow chart and everything." I backed away from the table, putting as much space between them as I could. Hosea handed me my sword, and I clutched it. I clutched it for dear life and descended into the jungle. "Here's the thing," Nell began. "We're worried about you." "I'm fine." "You don't eat. You don't sleep." "I'm in love." "You don't talk to people." "I'm a writer." "You can never come out of your cave." "I'm a writer." "Hosea told me some of the things you were talking about with Pat and Jacob, and we're worried, sweetie," Nell said. "That's all." I wanted to run. I wanted to kill them and run. I wanted to stab them, burn the bodies, and run. Maybe shout something about napalm on my way out the door. One sword wasn't enough. I wanted my combat boots, my fatigues, and my war paints and guns. As far as I was concerned, this was war, and I was lord of the jungle. I needed to fight. "We think it would do you well to speak to a therapist," Nell said. A therapist. A head doctor. I needed one. I know I needed one. But I couldn't be fixed. I knew this. I was fine with what I was. Why couldn't they be? Why couldn't they just accept what I had already chosen? What I was destined to be alone. "I don't have a problem seeing a doctor, but the ones I need aren't good enough in this area," I said. "We lived in the ass of New York, and it had the worst case of crotch imaginable. I'll have to go to the city or Boston to find what I need." "There may be something here," Hosea said. "You need meds." "I'm not taking meds." "I took them once. I remember too well." "You have issues," Nell said. "You're not dealing with them." "Aren't I?" I asked. "No," Hosea said. "You're not." I thought I was. "I took on Pat's rape book. I'm dealing with it. I'm working through things with Jacob." "We think you need more," Nell said. "I'm getting more," I said. "I'm planning on getting a group together to talk." And I was, too. Silence. "You are?" Nell asked. "Yes," I said. "I have 4 others who I'm close to online. We started a group a few months ago with just the 5 of us. There's a male in the group. I was planning on talking to them." "When?" Hosea asked. "Next week," I said. I wasn't lying. I have to wait for one of the members to settle some personal problems she's having, but then, yes, I was planning on talking to them about my past. "Damn it," Nell said. 1 week." She looked at Hosea. "I told you we should have waited." "I can handle this," I said. "I don't need you. I don't need anybody. I'll handle this as I've always handled everything alone." "But you're not alone," Hosea said. "I am!" I shouted. "And I want to be. I like alone. It's what I am. What I've been. What I always will be. I don't have a problem with my being alone. Why do you?" "Because it isn't normal," Nell said. "It isn't healthy." "It's normal for me," I said. "It's what I know and it's safe. I like it. What isn't okay for me is people. When they're around me, I'm scared. Like right now, I want to kill you both and run. I want to fight before you hurt me. I feel like I'm playing a game of Russian roulette with every person I know, and all I want to do is pull the trigger before they kill me. I know this. I know I can't be around people, and I've accepted this." I was defensive, but calm. No anger, frustration, desperation. They had to hear, to understand. I have finally come to terms with this, and I'm happy here. It's the first time in my life I'm happy. Why can't you accept this?" "What about your friends?" Nell asked. "And Hosea? So long as you're not close, I know what to do with you, I said. It's when you're close that I can't see you as friend or foe. Get too close and I won't recognize you. I'll attack you, and I'll hurt you. Just go away. I don't want to hurt anyone ever again. Nell and Jose exchanged a wordless conversation filled with confusion. They weren't understanding it at all. I could see that. They were looking at me, blinded by shock, and I knew. Neither could understand why anyone would ever consciously choose the life I had made. I wanted them to understand. I wanted them to know. I wanted them to be at ease and not to worry or hurt with my decision. I know 3 things, I said. I am beautiful, I am smart, and I should have been a boy, because my daddy told me so. I live every day wanting my father to love me and knowing he never will. I grew up under Sean's fist while he threatened to kill me every damn day. I watched him stone animals to death and throw their mangled bodies back at me. He tortured my cats to lure me out of my room so that he could beat me. And when I cried to my parents, I was told that boys will be boys and that I deserved it. I've heard rabbits scream. I've held cats dying in my arms. I was the only one who loved them. It was the least I could do for them. I grieved for them, alone. Every day of my life that I cried alone. Every cat of mine who I buried, I grieved alone. I grieved until I learned how to do it alone. I lay bleeding and broken on the floor of my room, waiting for someone, anyone to pick me up, and no one ever came. I had no friends, no parents, no kin that cared, or even knew of the isolation I endured. When I tried to run away, I was scolded. When I slit my wrists, I was laughed at. I was forever screaming, and no one ever heard me. It all flowed out. It all poured out, and I couldn't hold it in any longer. I ripped the chains from Angel's hands. I broke the locks on the boxes that held my emotions, and I released it all. The lack of a father's love drove me to seek it out in others, and those who I found were cruel monsters. They beat me, they raped me, they enslaved me. They reinforced that no one loved me, that I was worthless. And when I found the strength inside of me to leave my rapists after being locked in a room for more than 6 months, where I lived as his sex slave, I was picked up by a pedophile who raped me for 5 more years. He made me watch movies to arouse me so he could cue my body to respond to his will. He taught my body to lust, depend, and need sex every time I felt fear or anger or watched TV. He would reward me with books, the only luxury I had when I was a teenager. I was starved for them, and those books were all I had so that I could learn to escape the hell I was in. I taught myself logic and philosophy so that I could win my freedom. And when the New York Towers fell that September, he raped me. Do you want to know how I spent my September 11th? I was raped. While New York screamed and bled and died, he raped me and the towers fell. And then he left me, crying and naked on my bed while he ran back to New York. While the country screamed that day, I lay naked on my bed, unable to go home, unable to be with my people, unable to pull their bodies from their hell. While I lay in mine, all I could think of was theirs, smelling of the sex that I didn't want. I lay there, where he left me alone to cry. I should have gone home. He should have died that day. Not them, not my kin. I fell to the floor and I screamed. I listened to Nell cry between my own sobs. Neither Hosea nor Nell moved. So no, I said. I do not believe in a God. I do not believe in love. I do not believe anyone should trust. I don't believe in chivalry or a knight in shining armor who will save me. I do not believe in intimacy or gentleness. I believe in myself. I stood up on my own every time and I fought back. I took my beatings and I smiled because I refused to cry. I refused to cave. I survived. And now I cannot live as if I belong anywhere but a war. It's all I have ever known. I am broken. And now you want to tell me there's hope? There's love and help? Now you wish to tell me that everything I ever believed up to now has been a lie? Forgive me, but I don't see it. I've never seen anything but the nightmare. They let me rant. They let me talk. They watched me scream as I backed away, grasping my sword. As I calmed down, I drew nearer and lowered my weapon, only to raise it again and pace as they pressed me. The day wore on for hours, 6 hours of them drilling me, putting my logic to the test. My reasoning, I was worn and beaten and exhausted. It was with a weary head that I dropped, finally into a chair at the table with them. I have lived my whole life on an island, I said, and there I am safe. There I know who I am, and what I am, and what I am to do. Fight and kill. There was a war on my island. I know the war. I'm fighting it against myself. I know the bullets and bombs in the air are my own. I have my swords, my machete, my fatigues. I'm in the jungles of Cambodia, and I am there alone. If someone approaches, I will not see friend from foe. I will see only a threat, and I will kill. I will kill because before you can kill me. No one can be on this island. No one can be with me. Get on your boats and stay at sea where I can recognize you as friend. I will venture out to visit you on occasion, but if you ever come to my shores, I won't ask who you are or what you are. I will kill you. That is how I have lived. That is how I will continue to live, and this is how I will die. This is how I have ever lived. It's what I am. I've just now accepted it. I'm not fighting it anymore. But you don't have to, Nell said. Doesn't matter, I said. This is what I am. This is what I know. This is where I'm safe. War is comforting to me like mother's milk, like a womb. I'm 35. I've known nothing else. You're not going to change me now. You can't fix me. I'm too broken. Don't you want someone there with you? Nell asked. And then I thought of him, my raven, and he was there with me. I slipped back into that world. He was beside me, seated in the grass while I sharpened my swords, and I knew he had been there all along. He and he alone. He who I trusted, he who loved me, he who had wanted me as much as I wanted him, and that I did not doubt, not for one moment. He who in the depths of his fibers there beat a man as gentle and quiet and honest as I had once been beneath my own armor and war. I had forged myself a cocoon made out of dragon skin, forged a shell as hard as tungsten, and in the tender center within me there sat the child that I once was, barefoot with hair to my knees. The battle scars couldn't touch me there, not there. That child would forever play in the gardens and dance with the rain, the child who would bury her face into the lilacs, roses, and blooms of hyacinth, and breathe in their sweet perfumes. She could ride on the wind and bathe in the stars, she who danced beneath the moon, hearing music of her own as she ran through the shadows of the forest. The same child who scaled barefoot the cliffs of her glen and stripped her clothes off to stand naked in the rain while she gazed out over the waterfalls. That was who I was, who I fought to protect. She was fragile and kind and gentle, and bore not a single scar from the war I had fought for her. Forever protected in her dragon shell from my scars and my blood, she remained unscathed and pure. She was the keeper of my smile and my laugh, she who housed my hopes, my dreams, my spirit. She was the center of my being, the bang of my existence. She was me, my be-all and end-all. She is who I gave to my raven. All others who knew me saw only snippets and parts of her. All others had caught glimpses of a giggling girl who left a trail of sunlight in her wake, zipping about them like a sprite on the currents of an Irish stream. No other got close enough to see more than just a glimpse, but my raven, my beautiful, gentle raven. He was strong enough and quiet enough to enter. Only he ever saw her, only he ever possessed her, only he and I wanted inside. I believe he too has a boy inside of him, much like my girl, with the same deep-seated joy, pure and simple and perfect joy, keepers of our smiles and laughter. I could see him with a bow he fashioned for himself, climbing trees barefoot, paying no mind to the bark scraping his feet. I could see him running wild across the plains. I could see him playing with the goats and running alongside me in the forest barefoot, enjoying the occasional prick of a fallen pine needle on our arches. I know, because I did this too. And I know he knows it. Elizabeth, Hosea called. I came to and focused on the kitchen. What? I asked. You blacked out again, he said. Where did you go? Ireland, I answered. I watched Nell and Hosea exchange a set of worried glances. You need help, Elizabeth, Hosea said. You need a doctor. You find me one who can handle this, and I'll go.